There's actually, we have a little, if you guys have listened to our podcast, we have a bi-weekly podcast now. And we had, our second or third one, we had Shane, the director from that, come in and talk about that. So I won't go into too much detail. I'd definitely listen to the podcast. But they had an idea. They said, we like the steampunk look. We want to make this video steampunk. So their production company that usually makes it said, make us a steampunk video. And the production company hung up the phone and was like, we have no idea. They're like, anyone know the steampunk? Should we do it? Everyone in the office said, yeah, you should get the League of Steam. And a lot of those guys saw us at Comic-Con. So that was fantastic. So they just, quick Google search, you find us. So it was kind of, it was pretty much from there. And everyone on that set was fantastic. Brendan and Spencer are really awesome guys and fun to work with. There's another project in development I'm not allowed to talk about right now. Unfortunately, especially about being videotaped. So that should be fun. That'll be out in a couple weeks. And I'm hoping, we have a table at Comic-Con this year as well. Hopefully Brendan and Spencer might stop by and hang out for a little bit. What was the other thing? And now we're also starting work on season 2 of our web series. So the big thing with that is we're just trying to find funding to get it going, because it's like I said, season 1 was all out of our own pocket, and I mean, I don't know what the total is of what we spent on that first season, but you'd be amazed that it was. I mean, we have so much stuff that we're doing already, and one of the things is what we learned from developing the web series is, as that goes and we're doing more live shows, we wanted to sort of keep things that we could reuse for different stuff. So if we're going to create something for a live show, well, let's use it in a web series. Because and there's some stuff, because you want to make some stuff special, some stuff is going to work in a web series that's not going to work on a live show. And then that keeps them a little special and different as well. But that's been very helpful. Like this, for instance, this hasn't been in one of the webisodes yet. This was just a funny, silly idea I had. And I'm trying to even remember where it came from. But the shtick behind this one was that we needed some sort of harpoon or grappling hook in the League. And since I'm not allowed to play with sharp things, I thought a plunger was the next best idea. And I don't know why. There's a big harness that I wear, and it's actually shoulder mounted. So it'll ride back there. Maybe it's just because I love Predator too. There was a little influence in that. So that was a lot of fun to develop. And actually, I think the idea is, I'm just going to show you real quick because I can't give away the whole magic and illusion. I think the idea is it's a toy inside that I found at a toy store, which is pretty much all of that. What's that? So it's been heavily modified aesthetically. All the mechanics are still, and we'll see if the battery's any good. So I think actually that's what inspired me to do this piece, was just was seeing this in Toys R Us and thinking, oh, that would be really cool. And I had no idea. I think I bought it and had it for months before I knew really what to do with it. And since then, I've had so many different ideas. Uh-oh, my battery might be dead. Oh no, wrong clips. There we go. So it does use a motor inside, which I say is clockwork. And that just pumps air into a compression chamber, and when it gets full enough, it shoots out. There's a lock right here. And it goes, I think I only have about 20 or 25 feet of rope on this. If you put something that's more aerodynamic, it will actually go like 30 or 60 yards, something like that. But this is a giant cup that just scoops up air the whole time, so it doesn't go that far. But it goes about 25 feet, which is awesome. And then, because I really love making modular things that I could reuse or repurpose or use for something else, This is, you know, as the beasts run away, you've got to trip them. So this is that. And believe it, it's probably not safe to do in here. Believe it or not, it works actually kind of cool. That was a lot of, and then there's also a big fist. You guys have seen the punchy fist as well, right? The popular. This is our mini version, the punchy fist. Which this is one of our recent thing. The league decided let's make little models. So this is the original little model, and we made 20 for Wild Wild West Con. I think we only have like 2 left, and I'm not sure if they brought them this weekend. They brought the big one. I saw it. They brought the big one. The little ones are so. These are like the take home. You can buy and take home little punchy fist. So these were a lot of fun. So the matching fist to the big punchy fist. That's a pair of the Hulk gloves. That punching fist. So the left one I had sitting around. I didn't know what to do, so I made a matching one there, but I had the thumb go up, so it was like our emblem. So there's a giant fist sticking out of the cannon as well that you could do, and that was a lot of fun. So another thing. Let me just check our time. How are we doing on time? Okay. So in the league, and one of the things that I had. When I'm making something, I usually have so many different ideas. If I don't write them down or draw them out or even make a list of stuff, it'll just go away. And oftentimes things will kind of combine and become more than one thing. And it's stuff from, this was a toy I found that inspired me and then just aesthetically changed it enough to make it not look like the toy it was. So there's stuff like that will inspire me. There's other things. Like the punchy fist, I mean, that's just a classic, right? I mean, we've all grew up seeing a punchy fist. I think I had those Hulk hands for years just sitting around, never knew what to do with them. And I just thought, actually the punchy fist was originally made for, we have a goblin crew, which are just, they're fantastic little costumes, and we just raise havoc and drink and have fun. And the goblins were like very, very low-tech steampunk. And the punchy fist was one of the goblin tools originally. But the goblins kind of scare people, so we don't do them much. And that was at Labyrinth Ball. It was a lot of fun, because when we get into it, I mean, we get into it, and we just really play the characters, and our whole bodies change. The clown is my wife. Oh, because she has this, oh my God. I think, oh God, what's the website? I think there's a picture. We have a website that we don't use anymore, but is it losgoblins.com or something like that? Yeah, all the goblins had a different theme. And my wife, she just had an old clown suit. She used to be a clown at kids' birthday parties years ago. She's like, I have an old clown suit. She's like, what is going to scare people more than a clown? A goblin clown! So she had her sack of balloons, but all the balloons were old. And she had the little pump for the balloons. So she would just, creep out and make balloon animals, but she'd either pump them up so big that they would just pop, or they would go flying away. So she knows how to make balloon animals, but she never made one balloon animal. So it was just creepy stuff like that, where my buddy Colin had a tutu. So he was, that classic Moulin Rouge, the guy in the top hat and tails with the tutus. He was that as a goblin, which was just freaky. Dwayne, my pirate buddy that plays Jasper, he was the pirate goblin. And that's actually where the shock pack came from as well. The electric eel shock pack was developed, I think, originally for the goblins, or in tandem with the League and Goblin stuff. So the idea with the League of Steam really started turning into trying to make this, because we've built this community of artists that love each other, love hanging out, love working together, have all these different talents. I mean, honestly, we wanted to be our own Jim Henson Creature Shop. And, except not call it the same thing, because that would be weird and confuse people. So it was sort of that we started developing these other characters, like the goblins, and sort of have all these different worlds and sort of characters, as well as sort of take on other production jobs. And that's kind of what we've built right now. and working on, because we really want to do this for the rest of our lives, or until it doesn't work anymore, or until we stop having fun. And that's kind of the main thing, is we don't want to. We keep saying as soon as we stop having fun, we don't want to do it anymore. So anyway, back to making stuff. Where was it? Okay, so if you guys have seen the Ghostbuster pack, it's down the Hall of Wonders. If you guys haven't been to the Hall of Wonders, there's actually a lot of really cool stuff in there, so definitely go check that out. So I think every time I try and develop something as an artist, I want to try something new and different, and really challenge myself, because to me, part of the fun, I spend so much time researching and developing and designing something. Part of the fun is figuring out how I'm going to achieve something. If you know, I get an idea of something, it's like, okay, now what am I going to design to do it? Or if I have an idea to design something, now how am I going to achieve that? And that puzzle is something that's really fun to me. And one of the things that we've used quite a bit is compressed air powered devices. And it's to the point where I'm like, all right, I've done the compressed air thing, I want to move on. What else can I do? I want to find the next challenge, the next interesting thing. Of course, electricity with the baby electric eels. If you guys haven't tried that, go see Baron von Fogel. He has a shock pack. So little stuff like this, always just challenge myself as an artist and how I'm going to achieve something. We wanted to have a t-shirt cannon because t-shirt cannons are cool. And they fire projectiles, which is totally safe. And so that's sort of, this is one of the latest things that just threw together. And we've used it a couple times. This premiered at Wild West Con. The cool thing, there's a couple cool things about this. It's huge, because I'm compensating. Let me just show you. But I had a couple things that I wanted to do when I was developing this. And when I'm learning to do something, when I was first trying to learn how the compressed air cannons worked, I didn't know. I had an idea of how I thought it worked. And really, it was kids on YouTube making potato cannons. That's who showed me how to do this stuff. And the net gun, if you guys have seen the net gun, it's used in the Panic at the Disco video. Actually, my wife has it today. So definitely get a demo with that. It has to be shot with the net. That one was a huge challenge because that basically is a glorified 3-barrel potato cannon. But trying to figure out how to make it work and make it aesthetically pleasing, that was sort of the big design aspect with that. And I won't go on all to the details of the net cannon, but there was a lot of challenging things in order to make that happen.
Thank you.
So that's the net cannon was sort of my first foray into doing compressed air cannons. We also, Professor Yeager, if you guys know Scott, the really tall guy, Professor Yeager, he had made what we called the SUC, the Sport Utility Cannon. And that was sort of a compressed air cannon, so we can just shoot whatever we wanted. But unfortunately, because Professor Yeager can't always be with us, because they're in Northern California, we needed another t-shirt cannon, because we learned at shows that it was Maker Faire last year. T-shirt cannon was awesome. I mean, somebody buys a t-shirt, they're like, yeah, shoot it at me. Okay. So we're like, hey, we can make this a thing. So we did. We started making it a shtick, and it became sort of a deal that developed last year at Maker Faire. And we've got a lot of just little fun stuff we do. Now we've got a padding and a little, this old baseball padding and catcher's face stuff that make a whole production of putting that on to keep it safe. So that's a lot of fun.